It began a year ago when the so-called free speech advocates, who in truth have no appreciation for freedom, were allowed to assault and humiliate the symbol of law and order, a policeman on the campus. And that was the moment when the ringleaders should have been taken by the scruff of the neck and thrown out of the university once and for all. As a matter of fact, I have here a copy of a report of the district attorney of Alameda County. It concerns a dance that was sponsored by the Vietnam Day Committee, sanctioned by the university as a student activity, and that was held in the men's gymnasium at the University of California. The incidents are so bad, so contrary to our standards of human behavior, that I couldn't possibly recite them to you here from this platform in detail. But there is clear evidence that there were things that shouldn't be permitted on a university campus. Let me just read a few excerpts. The total crowd at the dance was in excess of 3,000, including a number of less than college-age juveniles. 3 rock and roll bands were in the center of the gymnasium, playing simultaneously all during the dance. And all during the dance, movies were shown on 2 screens at the opposite ends of the gymnasium. These movies were the only lights in the gym proper. They consisted of color sequences that gave the appearance of different colored liquids spreading across the screen, followed by shots of men and women on occasion, shots where the men and women's nude torsos on occasion, and persons twisted and gyrated in provocative and sensual fashion.
At Berkeley, there was a plot of land that had been taken by protesters. The university owned it. They were trying to turn it into a parking lot. The protesters claimed it as a park for the people.
Reagan orders the California Highway Patrol and Berkeley police officers to the park. While the crowd continues to swell, Reagan's chief of staff sends reinforcements to the scene. He tells them to use whatever methods they choose against the protesters. Not long after, police start firing buckshot and tear gas. 1 student is killed, and an estimated 128 people are admitted to local hospitals. Reagan declares a state of emergency and sends in the National Guard.
Who are you?
Will you let me finish my
I would like to hear who you are. This gentleman was...
Wapsie, okay?
I'm
happy now.
You bet I'm happy, and you bet you won't say anything that'll surprise me.
And I'd love to see you discuss this openly before the people of California.
I am discussing it openly.
And we'll know that you can't run a university by bayonet. You cannot do it that way. If you would allow yourself to listen, you would have a lot of people who would be showing some compassion, some interest in nonviolence, some interest in order. If you would speak out against the use of firearms and buckshot and say, if you will, that the people responsible for that should be removed, if you would say that and set an example of cutting down the escalation, you can bet we'd have a lot of...
Mr. Wapsie, when did any of you appear before the students? When did any of you stand up at Sproul Hall on Thursday and beg them not to go down there? Those people told you for days in advance that if the university sought to go ahead with that construction, they were going to physically destroy the university. Now, why did you...
to negotiate many times.
Negotiate? What is to negotiate? What is...
The university is a public institution.
That's right.
Important
but the university...
For its own community and for the community of Berkeley that live around it.
All of it began the first time some of you who know better and are old enough to know better let young people think that they had the right to choose the laws they would obey as long as they were doing it in the name of social protest.